take this coolant reservoir out of the way to get access to the engine mount, grab it and pull up. It's got a hook in the back and one in the front here. To get this rear one out, you can see it has this lip that goes over and gets jammed into the plastic. And what I'm going to do is stick a screwdriver behind it, just like this. That pries the plastic away, and then hopefully we can slide this coolant overflow right up. There we go. I'll get my screwdriver later, but now we can take this and move it out of our way. All right, let's slide a jack underneath. I'm gonna go right here on the engine block. I have a rubber pad in between my jack and the engine. There we go. I'm applying slight pressure. That's good. So here's the engine mount that we have to remove. You have two 18mm nuts up top and then two 15mm bolts on each side, and that's all there is. Make sure the engine is supported when you take this out. There's one. Number two. Set those aside, and now let's take off these two 18mm nuts. Okay, the stud came out with it, that's fine. Do the other one. Same thing, the stud came out with it. It's not technically supposed to, but we can fix this, I'll show you how. So to get this nut off, I'm gonna put an 18mm wrench on the nut and then an inverted torque socket, an E10, on the stud here. And you wanna thread the stud in, hold the nut, and that'll actually push the stud out through the nut. Lock some locking pliers onto this flat area here with no threads and take it off the rest of the way. There you have it. Now we can install this back into the engine and then put the nut on when we're ready to reinstall the engine mount. Let's do the same to the other stud. Now simply just remove the engine mount and throw it away. Let's get the new one in. Let's put the two studs back in. And the reason I do this is so that when I put the new engine mount on and I torque the two nuts, I get an actual accurate torque reading. Otherwise, if the nuts are still on the stud and then the stud is in there with the nut all jammed up together, then it's gonna not really get an accurate torque. So snug these up. Okay, these just have to be bottomed out and snugged because this little shank here will stop them, and as soon as you put the nut on, it'll actually pull the whole stud up and tighten both sides threads. Get the new engine mount, slide it over the two studs here, drop it into place. I'm going to put these two nuts on first. Make sure they start on so you don't cross thread them. Snug them up, and then we'll come back and torque them later. Okay, and now let's position the engine mount to where you can line up the two side bolts. This one lines up, so I'm going to drop this one in first, start it by hand, do the same to the back one. That one's good. Let's snug them both up. I'm actually going to lower the engine just a little bit with my jack. There we go. Now we'll snug them up. 59 foot-pounds for these two nuts, and then 66 for the two side bolts. So let's start with the two nuts. There's one. Second one. Now let's do the two side bolts. That's one. Perfect. Remove your support. Let's put the overflow tank back in, line it up with the tabs on the back and on the front here. Press it on. Perfect.